Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do a breakdown of the trailer that just came out for the Amazon series The Boys. Now, I was not familiar with the comic of this until I saw the trailer, and then I kind of looked up some stuff. So there are some differences from the premise of the show versus the premise of the comic book, and I'll go into that a little bit, but basically, your headliners are going to be Carl Urban and Elizabeth Shue, who are really the two big names that are attached to this. And then your main character is being played by Jack Quaid. He plays Huey Campbell. But we start off the trailer where we meet Carl Urban and we meet he's basically in this electronics store with this kid Huey, and he says, "I know about Robin," and presumably Robin is the woman who, in the immediate next scene, is then accidentally killed by a superhero with super speed. He basically runs into her while she's just standing there, and he's so fast that she just explodes. Um, it's done a bit comedically, and I think that this series seems like it's kind of going to be kind of that gory action comedy type of thing, which I like. I personally do like it, and Carl Urban honestly won me over in this trailer. I think he does. He seems like he does a very good job at playing his character, who's Billy Butcher. But basically they kind of established that Huey is kind of the everyman in this situation, and the premise of the show is that Carl Urban is leading this team of regular people who are out to police the superhero community in this world that they live in, where superheroes exist. Because of all the collateral damage and because of all the stuff they do that's not right behind the scenes. So essentially, he wants to keep them in check. He wants to kill the really bad ones, and he wants to intimidate the ones that they don't want to kill, at least from what we can gather. Now, this is a bit of a departure from the comic book because the comic book has them as they're a CIA operative team, Black Ops team, that is basically meant to kind of police and restrict the superhero community. In the show, they appear to just be vigilantes, and they're listed as such. But basically, Carl Urban goes and he gets this kid Huey, and together with his three other accomplices, who are codenamed Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and just the female, um, they form the group that he has dubbed the Boys. And they do a little bit of a quick cut thing in the middle of the trailer where they show all of the individual characters kind of doing what they do. See a lot of gunplay and stuff like that. They don't appear to have any kind of special powers, although you do see a lot of superheroes with powers. There looks to be a guy that can turn into, has some kind of a chameleon ability, who can make himself invisible. There's the Superman archetype, the one that can fly, long flowing cape, suit and stuff like that. And then there's more than others. They mentioned that there is a superhero group called the Seven, who is, I guess, is their universe's version of kind of like the Justice League, that kind of thing. But basically, they go through that whole trailer, and you just kind of see all this zany stuff, which is fine. Now, I will say at the end kind of what I'm concerned about with this trailer and what I've seen, but I'll get to that. But um, basically, the as they go through the the trailer, you get to see all of the stuff that's kind of happening. Uh, they're going after some of these superheroes. There's a bunch of comedic moments. Like there's one where Carl Urban tries to shoot a guy and the bullet bounces off and bounces back at him, and he just goes, "Ha, you dumbass! I'm invincible." Funny stuff like that. Where like if a real person tried to, if a regular everyday person tried to take on a superhero, what would probably happen. Um, now, uh, it is interesting to see, and as far as I can tell, this appears to just basically be a single episode. It doesn't list necessarily all of the stuff that's going on with it. It is set to premiere on July 26th of 2019, so there's not that much longer. Uh, there's not that much longer to kind of wait for this. Um, like I said, I don't know how many episodes are actually going to be in the season as of right now. It could be, usually these things number anywhere from like 10 to 13 or so, especially for the streaming services. But back to kind of the trailer, they go through kind of the things, and they show again a few action scenes which you can kind of piece together into kind of doing some things. So the initial scene where Carl Urban meets the Huey character in the electronics store, that then leads into the chameleon guy coming into the electronics store and trying to murder him with a television set. Carl Urban then crashes through the front window and hits the invisible guy with his car, and then grabs a crowbar and is basically going to bash his brains in. There's a few other little comedic sections. There's a section where he grabs a baby that apparently has laser eyes and cuts someone's head off with it. That's kind of interesting. But the the problem that I kind of have with the trailer is I'm worried they're putting too many of the action elements into the trailer. Now, this is a problem that we saw a little bit with Umbrella Academy when it was coming out on Netflix. Is there was a lot of action in the first 1 to 3 episodes of that series, and then you didn't see it pick up again until really kind of the last two episodes, episodes 9 and 10. And even then, it wasn't huge. It wasn't really that big. But probably the best action sequence in the whole film and the whole series for Umbrella Academy is in the very first episode when Five kills all the guys in the donut shop. Aside from that, there's really not too many amazing action scenes in that show, and that was kind of one. That's kind of what I'm concerned about here. Is if this is going to follow kind of the same lines as Umbrella Academy, where it slows down at a point, then I don't know necessarily if if they're showing everything in the trailer to kind of get you to watch the show, and it's kind of like a bait and switch. Oh, I saw all the good stuff in the trailer. Um, that is a bit of a concern, but again, if they build this up, if they do like, okay, the first episode or two is, uh, they're kind of learning, they're kind of getting used to stuff. They're screwing up. They can't do much stuff, and then by the middle episodes, they're kind of the journeyman. Maybe they've taken out a couple of superheroes, and then by the end, they're just murking people. That's what you want in a television series like this. You want the build up, and you want kind of if you're doing the funny stuff, you kind of want the kinks to get worked out in the middle, and then there's not too much funny stuff at the end. Because and inevitably you want to build to the finale, which Umbrella Academy did very poorly. They had a very sharp dip in those middle episodes until the end when it kind of came back up again, but it was well too late. What you want is a progressive arc as opposed to a dip and then an upward. You don't want a reverse bell curve essentially. You don't want start out high, go low, go back to high. You want start out low, go high over the entire series. So it is interesting. I like the idea of this. I think I might pick up this an omnibus of this comic book series though, because this seems really kind of fun. But it seems like it's going to be interesting. I'd like to see it. So whatever your thoughts are on the boys, you can put them in the comments. As usual, I'll list the trailer in the description if anybody wants to watch it. And then put your thoughts in the comments. Again, I like to read them. Are you excited about this? Did you read the comic? Do you like the idea of that being turned into a show? Remember to hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise.